It's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. We're going to clean out the cupboards today. Got a lot of stories that I've been gathering over the weeks, and with our limited time, I don't get to everything. So let's just kind of clean off the shelves today, see what I can get to. Sound like a plan? I did that the other day. I was entirely out of food, and I just didn't have the gumption to go to the store. In the best of times, I hate grocery shopping. And nowadays, I just find it to be overwhelmingly daunting. And I really just, I don't have any choice. And so I bought one day by ordering Chinese from my favorite little spot, Chinese delivery. And I had that, and it made that last for a day and a half. And then finally, it was like, okay, well, how can I put this off? And I looked through my cupboards. I had enough popcorn to pop one medium-sized bowl of popcorn. I had some bread, the ends of the bread, the ones you don't use until you absolutely have to. But I had a couple, 2 or 3 in the freezer, loaves of bread that were down to the last 2 ends each. So I toasted those up and had some tea. I had a couple of eggs left, so I stretched it out for another half a day. So eventually I cleaned out my cupboards, and there was no choice. I had to go shopping, and I did. All right, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to clean out the cupboards. Let's start with today's meme of the day. It's not really a meme. It's just a little post from Craig Brodude at Craig SJ. He twittered this out. This shutdown saga is exposing who's never been told no in their life. Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right, so there's today's meme of the day. Oh, love this story. I bet you've seen it in your feed. If you haven't, Crayola, makers of crayons, of course. Colors of the World, they call it. It's a box of crayons with 24 skin tone shades. Crayola's new Colors of the World box reflects a diverse range of skin tones. After months of research, Crayola has announced their upcoming Colors of the World crayons, a new set of 24 crayons meant to represent a variety of global skin tones to reflect the diversity of the world we live in. The brand teamed up with a former MAC chemist to create the collection, with hopes that the new representative colors will help cultivate a more inclusive world for children of all ages, races, cultures, and ethnicities. Cool. Yeah, when I'm an old guy, so when I was a kid, you may have heard the urban legend, and it's true. They had a crayon in their box that was labeled Flesh. And of course, to the modern sensibility, that is just unbelievably insensitive and wrong and Anglo-centric. And then, of course, they did away with that, but they never have done anything like this before, and this is pretty great. Together, the 24 new crayon shades combine to create up to 40 different and beautiful skin tones, as seen below. And the side, okay, so there's a little illustration. Medium almond, medium deep rose, light medium almond, light medium rose, light almond, light rose. Goes on and on and on. The lightest is extra light almond. The darkest is deepest almond. Then extra deep golden, extra deep rose. So they got a name for each one of them. All right, good for you, Crayola. Nice job. Nice going. I like that. That's pretty great. Hey, you guys, the Orange Menace. Have you noticed the guy has got to be really seriously ill, or whatever drugs he's taking, I don't know, but he looks bad. Have you noticed his eyes are bloodshot most of the time? And his pupils, somebody pointed this out, and I looked, and his pupils are dilated. They are wide open. And you don't have dilated pupils unless it's really, really dark in the room, and then your eyes naturally kind of open up that aperture, right? You've all played that little game as a kid. You turn out the lights for a while, you look around, and then you turn on the light and look at yourself in the mirror, and you watch that pupil shrink right before your eyes. That's, a cool little kid thing you do. But if they're wide open, if those pupils are wide open all the time, that either means you're really sick or it's a reaction from some drugs you're taking. I don't know what the other options are. I don't think there are any. It's not natural. And so what I did was, normally whenever there's a picture of this guy in my feed, I scroll by as quickly as I can. I can't stand to look at him. If I want to look at the headline, I scroll the picture up and then I read the headline. But I never linger on a picture of him because it just makes me sick. But I muscled it up, and I went ahead and I just clicked on, images, and I looked at dozens and dozens of pictures, and his eyes are always in this condition. The guy just looks really, really, really bad. I don't know what's going on with the guy. He just said today, or yesterday, I guess, that oh yeah, his regimen is over with the hydroxychloroquine. So he was just lying the whole time. He never took it. I don't know what's going on with that. As I pointed out earlier this week, the way you take hydroxychloroquine, you don't take it daily. You take it daily for the first week, and then it's a weekly thing. So he's just lying through his teeth. Okay, next. Trolls and bots are flooding social media with disinformation, encouraging states to end quarantine. This is not a new story. This goes back to the big days of the protests when they first really hit Michigan with their AR-15s and all of that, mid-late April. But the gist of this story is protests, of course, have popped up around the U.S., calling for states to end quarantine. Again, this is kind of old news now. But here's the thing, if you haven't heard, and what I found worth repeating for you guys. An analysis from Bot Sentinel, a bot tracking platform, found that bots and trolls have been stoking sentiments online that have fueled the protests, using hashtags like hashtag #ReopenAmericaNow and hashtag #StopTheMadness. Online disinformation, seemingly used to stoke political tension in the U.S., has been frequently reported on since the 2016 election, when Russian actors used bots and active trolling to support Donald Trump, organize events, and spread political memes. Brooke Binkowski, managing editor of the fact-checking website Truth or Fiction, says that reporters need to do a better job of reporting on the protests in the context of this disinformation. So there's that. Yeah, not surprising, but confirmed there. All the hype that we saw, and we continue to see to some extent, much of it, great numbers, great percentages, generated by bots and trolls, of course. According to one headline I saw, nearly half of the Twitter accounts discussing reopening America may be bots. We're going through, we're cleaning the cupboard today. Dire situation in Alabama capital. ICU's full, coronavirus cases double in May. Yeah, we're just gonna continue to see these kinds of stories. The Orange Menace said just yesterday, was asked, well, if and when we have a big surge, will you close up the nation? Nope, absolutely not, he said. No, regardless of what happens, we're never going to close down again. So, God forbid, we're going to see stories like this from Montgomery, Alabama. City's healthcare system has been maxed out, according to the mayor, as cases of coronavirus have more than doubled in May. A sharp contrast to the slowing coronavirus spread that's taken place across much of the U.S. Yeah. So just one more example, just one illustration of what we're going to see. Mentioned yesterday that Racine County and Kenosha County, just south of here, hot spots. Cases growing. Deaths mounting. So here's a particular case, but not the only case and won't be the last. Next up, Trump just removed the Inspector General investigating Elaine Chao. Wednesday of this week, the president's attack on Inspector General independence at the Department of Transportation deserves just as much public scrutiny as all the rest. Of course, all the rest meaning several inspectors general fired. The big headline from the week, the Linick, what's his first name? I forgot. Inspector General of the State Department, who the Orange Menace said he didn't know, never heard of. He always says that. Oh, I never heard of him. I didn't know him at all, never met him. But Mike Pompeo asked me to fire him, so I fired him. It's like, he doesn't even try anymore. He's just so blatant with his incompetency and his corruption. He doesn't even try anymore. He is so bold. He's the only guy who can tell a lie and tell the truth in the same sentence with equal confidence, equal boldness. Because, of course he lies. Every time he opens his mouth, he's lying, except when he's telling the truth. And when he's telling the truth, it's often about something really nefarious. But again, he's just gotten so brazen about what he's doing. So here, the Elaine Chao thing, in yet another assault on checks and balances, President abruptly removed the Department of Transportation's independent watchdog late Friday. So that was last week already. The same night, he announced plans to fire the State Department's Inspector General. At DOT, Department of Transportation, the acting IG was overseeing a high-profile investigation of Secretary Chao's alleged favoritism benefiting her husband, Senator Mitch McConnell's political prospects, but has now been replaced with a political appointee from within the agency. The acting IG's ouster calls into question the future of the Chao-McConnell investigation, other critical oversight, and whether the watchdog was dismissed for unearthing damaging information. And by the way, the new acting IG, it's someone who McConnell has already put the seal of approval on. So McConnell pretty much handpicked the new Inspector General at Department of Transportation, who will then put that Chao investigation into the circular file. This move is the latest salvo of Trump's assault on oversight, and it looks like the president made sure to cover all his bases to block accountability, not only nominating an IG to succeed the experienced watchdog who held the post, but also demoting the acting IG who was investigating Chao and installing a political appointee to serve in his place while the Senate considers a permanent replacement. To make matters worse, Trump's pick to be the new acting IG, Howard Skip Elliott, already has a job overseeing the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, an office he will now also be in charge of policing. Okay, so now we got the name. Howard Skip Elliott. I love it when people put that little nickname in the middle. Remember Larry Bud Melman? Yeah, Howard Skip Elliott. Hand-chosen by Senate Majority Leader Moscow Mitch McConnell. Yeah, I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but many IGs fired by Trump. And of course he says, well, it's my prerogative as president, which of course it is, but you look back at the history, and there's very little turnover. There's very little turnover of inspectors general from presidents. They're supposed to be nonpartisan. They don't come and go with administrations. That's not how it works. Not at all. No. But of course, it fits the pattern. Appoint judges, hand-picked judges who will be loyal. There's some shining stars in this category. Attorney General Barr being right at the top of that list. Yeah, every post from White House Chief of Staff, heads of every agency, even ones that are supposed to be independent, like the Attorney General and Inspector General Corps, especially those who are supposed to be independent. No, you find loyalists. All right, moving quickly through news items we haven't gotten to. Here's something for my Wisconsin friends. State launches $25 million rental assistance program as eviction moratorium ends. Wisconsin Public Radio story I'm reading right now. Wisconsin residents struggling to pay their rent could be eligible to receive up to $3,000 under a rental assistance program announced Wednesday of this week by Governor Tony Evers. Since March 27, landlords have been prohibited from evicting tenants, but that ban will expire Tuesday, May 26. While state and federal benefits will help soften the blow, they're not expected to cover all the expenses a family must manage, Evers said. In response, the state is launching a $25 million Wisconsin rental assistance program for people who have lost income as a result of the pandemic. So there you go. You may be eligible. Let's see if they give us a site here. I'll look it up for us. Initial details regarding the program are available here. Let's see what we get. I went to this earlier to take a look at this. You can't apply yet. There is some more information if you want to go to doa.wi.gov and look for DOA grants. We're All In is the little moniker they've given it. We're All In DOA grants. So just search that, and all it says is coming soon. I'm looking to see here if there's any way to apply yet. Is there? Let's see. Details about the Wisconsin Rental Assistance Program, including application details and eligibility information, will be available soon. I guess that's all I can find right now for you. But make a note and check back, because I'm sure there are people for whom this might be a great benefit. All right, in no particular order, we're going through the stories today. We're cleaning out our cupboard. Republicans are planning to spend $20 million so you won't vote. The party is recruiting 50,000 volunteers in 15 states to, quote, monitor polling places and challenge ballots and voters deemed suspicious. And here you go again. You don't have to be an expert in the field. We just know this from multiple reporting. Voter fraud is not a problem. Where it is a problem, they're usually always Republicans who are doing the fraudulent voting. But they claim voter fraud, and then we know this. The Republican Party is building a program to recruit tens of thousands of volunteers in over a dozen states to conduct anti-voter fraud efforts. Voter fraud in quotes, of course. Which means monitoring polls and challenging votes and voter registrations, according to the New York Times. The party, backed by President Donald Trump, is spending $20 million in its efforts, which intends to recruit up to 50,000 volunteers in 15 states to monitor polling places and challenge ballots and voters deemed suspicious, the Times reports. The money is also intended to fight Democratic-backed lawsuits against alleged voter suppression efforts on the part of Republicans. It's an old game. It's a familiar game. Gerrymandering, voter suppression, voter ID. They want to limit or eliminate vote by mail, early voting. The GOP appears to be capitalizing on a 2018 federal court decision allowing a decades-long consent decree to expire, which had barred the Republican National Committee from pursuing certain ballot security measures. In that effort in New Jersey in 1981, the RNC started a ballot security task force of armed off-duty police officers to patrol minority-majority precincts in Newark and Trenton. Man, these guys are bold. The court decree had been violated by the GOP and then updated several times over the past 4 decades until its expiration 2.5 years ago. All right, so they got some judge to let them do it, and now they're doing it. And again, they don't even try to hide their corruption anymore. They just do it. The whole damn party has gotten so bold. Oh, here's a little note. A couple things we blew right by this past week. Monday of this week was our 100th episode of The Log. So, we didn't even throw a party or anything. We didn't drop any balloons. So, yeah, we blew past our 100th episode. Happy anniversary. Monday, May 18th, we reached that milestone. And something else we blew right by, a couple of birthdays. It was Malcolm X's birthday. We love Malcolm X around here. I forget the date. Let me look that up real quick. Let's see. Malcolm X was born May 19th, 1925. So let's see. Let me do some math here. 75, 85, 95 years old he would have been on May 19th. 95th anniversary of his birth. So I guess that would have been Tuesday of this week. If you've never read his autobiography, just absolutely essential reading. Every American needs to read the autobiography of Malcolm X, as told to Alex Haley, of course. So let's commemorate that. And another birthday, an anniversary of a birth, someone long gone, Bertrand Russell, May 18th. That would have been Monday of this past week, 1872. I saved this and I thought maybe I'd read some to you, but there's no time today. Maybe we'll just devote a nice long segment. This is from a site called brainpickings.org. The Four Desires Driving All Human Behavior. Bertrand Russell's magnificent Nobel Prize acceptance speech. And they have not the entire text, but copious segments of the speech with a little bit of commentary from the editors. Yeah, we're going to have to come back to this. Make a note, remind me. We're fans of Bertrand Russell around here. So let's commemorate that anniversary as well. May 18th, the anniversary of the birth of the great Bertrand Russell. Stories over the last week or two that we haven't gotten to. We never talked about Senator Richard Burr, did we? I don't know the latest on that, but the FBI knocked on his door and said, hey, man, we're taking your phone. They got a judge to issue the warrant. And, it's pretty serious when the FBI shows up at your door unannounced with a warrant. Of course, Richard Burr, accused of profiteering from inside information regarding the pandemic. He dumped stocks, but he had inside information. Of course, he's not the only one. Federal agents seized Burr's cell phone after they served a search warrant on the Republican at his residence in the Washington area. Caitlin Carroll, a spokeswoman for Burr, declined to comment on the reported warrant. No comment. Burr, the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, sold a significant percentage of his stock portfolio in February, shortly before the stock market declined and after his committee was receiving daily coronavirus briefings. The Justice Department started to probe stock transactions made by lawmakers, including Burr, ahead of the steep market decline. Burr sold off between $628,000 to $1.72 million of his holdings on February 13th in 33 separate transactions. No, nothing unusual going on here. According to ProPublica, which first reported in March on the senator's sell-off. Burr has denied using any information he learned in his capacity as a senator to guide his decisions regarding selling his stocks. Oh, sure you did. Senator Loeffler, Senator Ron Johnson. Man, Ron Johnson sitting in Russ Feingold's seat. That just really burns my clams every time I think about it. But Johnson, Loeffler, others implicated as well in this little sell-off game. Let's finish with, let's see. Let's choose one to take us out. So much to talk about. We'll have to do another cupboard cleaning real soon. Well, this deserves more time than we can give it today, but we should tell you that the on-again, off-again, on-again New York Democratic primary is on again. Maybe I shouldn't even talk about this. Maybe the time you hear this, it'll be off again. But as of now, at least, my reading, New York's Democratic primary is back on with both Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang on the ballot. New York State's Democratic presidential primary is a go. The U.S. Second Circuit Court of Appeals ruled Tuesday that New York's Board of Elections can't call off the primary scheduled for June 23rd. In agreeing with the lower court's decision, the Tuesday ruling will put former Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, and several other Democrats back on the ballot, even though all but Biden have suspended their campaigns. Yeah, this went through a couple of back and forths. Bernie was taken off the ballot, and that caused a little uproar. Then the whole damn thing was just taken off the calendar. Well, why should we have a primary at all? A couple of court cases and back and forth, and as of now anyway, it's back on. And Bernie's on the ballot, and we all know how that works. Bernie wants your votes. He still wants your votes. Just a reminder, if you're listening in a state that has yet to have their primary election, your vote for Bernie is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a wasted vote. He wants it. He's asking for it because it'll give him a little more clout in the convention, which we still don't know if it's going to be an in-person convention or a digital convention, a remote Zoom convention. Come on and Zoom, Zoom, Zooma, Zoom. Come on and Zooma, 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 Zoom. A vote for Bernie does give him delegates. If he's awarded more delegates, then they go to the convention, and they have a voice in how the convention works, about the party rules. Looking forward to the next round of elections, and of course the platform for this year. So it makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference. Your vote is not wasted if you want to vote for Bernie Sanders or Andrew Yang or anybody you want to vote for. I saw Joe Biden on Colbert last night. This guy, oh my God, Joe, he's got nothing. He has nothing to say, and he says it poorly. He sounds like any other tired pundit, like one of those old retired news guys. So they put him on the panel once in a while to bloviate. He's got nothing original to say. He just spouts sound bites, and he rails about Trump. We can all rail about him. All of us do that every day. Oh my God. The worst possible candidate you could imagine. All right, go get him, Joe. Democrats, do what you need to do. You know your deal. You know what you want to do. Just go do it. Well, this went very quickly, and I only got through a little bit of my cupboard. We will continue in future shows to try to clean out here. I got so many stories that I never quite get to. We'll get to them all if it takes us another 100 episodes. This episode of The Log is available right now wherever you find your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, iHeart, YouTube, and the podcast Source. Enter Charles Burcell Presents in the search window. Or best yet, go to charlesburcell.com. There you'll find this and all the other series in the podcast family. Follow, comment, and contact me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com. Theme music composed and performed by Peter Donalds. From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Burcell.